Welcome, citizens of Gotham, to The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast focusing on all things The Dark Knight and the DC Universe. If you'd like to connect with the show, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky. I think that's all of them. And just search TFR Batpod. You will find us there. If you're looking to offer suggestions, comments, questions for the show, you can reach us by email. Just shoot those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. My name is Eric Carter, and I am your host, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe Fornerado. Joe, we are celebrating a big anniversary on this episode, and I know you're excited about this one. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. Happy 10-year anniversary to BVS, Eric. This is
10 years.
insane.
Yeah.
10 years. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's been 10 years.
You know what? This is my make good, by the way. The whole month of March is my make good to you because you were not on the original Zack Snyder's Justice League episode that was way early on in the show. It was like episode 3 or something like that. So this is my make good. You get a whole month of Snyder goodness. You get BVS 10-year anniversary, and then our next episode you get 5 years of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So there, never want to hear anything about you not being on that episode again.
I mean, the irony of it, I mean, the fact that it was like, what, your second or third episode. I've only not been on two episodes, and one of them happened to be the Justice League episode. So it was a little weird.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, if you're not on, it's something like an interview or something
Yeah.
random like that. But
Yeah.
early on, we were trying different things. We didn't know what this was going to be.
Yep.
So you've become the regular co-host. I've got to make good. So here we
I've
are.
gotten past it. I've let it go.
Have
It's
you?
okay.
Have you?
Well, we'll
Um,
see in 2 weeks.
okay, gotcha. Well, yes, we are here to celebrate 10 years of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So before we get there, of course, we do have to give a big thank you to our partner sponsor in Panel Bound Comics, formerly Organic Price Books. Panel Bound Comics is your hookup for discounts on collected editions, hardcovers, trade paperbacks, absolute editions, omnibus, anything you're looking for, they've got it. So go check out Panel Bound Comics. Go to the link in the description of this podcast. That'll take you to their website. You can use either of our two promo codes there. The first, TFR Batpod, will save you $2 off of any order. And the second, TFR Batpod Ship It Together, will save you 5% off of any order of 3 or more books. So go check out Panel Bound Comics. Support this show as you shop and save yourself some money on some awesome collected editions. But Joe, without further ado, let's celebrate this clash of DC superheroes and look back on 10 years of Batman v Superman. Okay, now Joe, I know we just gave that like big intro. We played the music. We're on the other side. We're getting ready to talk about BVS, but I realized I forgot something. So before we dive into BVS, I'm going to pivot really quickly. And I want to ask you, because I know not only are you a BVS fan, not only are you a Zack Snyder's Justice League fan and DC fan overall, you're one of the biggest Green Lantern fans I know. So before we get into BVS, and I'm sorry, folks, for doing this after the intro and everything, but I gotta know, what's your thoughts on the Lanterns trailer that we just got from HBO? Well, like a week ago.
Yeah, I totally forgot. So without getting too much into it, I'm cautiously optimistic still. I think with everything we've heard leading up to this show, our our skepticism of it being too much of them not in the suits, too grounded, um, maybe too much of a procedural HBO show more than a superhero show.
Hmm.
I think the trailer did a lot to confirm our concerns, but I think it did a couple of things that have me a little, again, cautiously optimistic, where I don't think out of nowhere the show is going to become Peacemaker, where it's just
Hmm.
balls to the wall, complete comic book greatness. I mean, Peacemaker is its own thing, but I think, you know, seeing Hal fly, at least, like, they're not avoiding that kind of stuff, but also he's flying without being in the costume. So, like,
Yeah.
I said in our chat, there are things that remind me of Titans watching the trailer. And I don't mean that as a negative because I like Titans. I'm not talking about, the criticisms of Titans. I'm talking about, you know, the language is a little jarring. But at this point, why should we be surprised by that for an HBO show? Um, but also like the one of our one of our little nitpicks of Titans was always the suits were so perfect. I don't want to see them out of the suit. Why not just do the same show with the suits on? I do worry that is going to be a complaint with Lanterns, but I'm hoping they're holding back because they showed enough in this show in the trailer without giving away anything, but there are hints at, the ring saving John from the car. I hope they're not going to just cut away from that and we're going to assume what happened during the show like they did in the trailer.
Yeah.
We might be getting some of that comic book greatness. And I've seen speculation from comic book writers and people that have maybe more knowledge of the show that they're basically telling people kind of chill out and wait because I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if you've seen that kind of stuff.
I have seen that, and I'm kind of glad that some of them are saying that because I think some people are hitting the panic button a little too hard.
Yeah.
And
And I get it because the trailer is a little, I mean, it's what we were told. It's True Detective. I mean, the
yeah,
like you said, it's Yellowstone. I've seen people say it's Yellowstone with Green Lantern.
yeah. And you know what the prevailing thing I keep going back to because I've watched the trailer a few times since last week when it came out.
Mhm.
Green Arrow's not here, but this feels like hard traveling heroes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It feels like that's what they're going for, is that Neil Adams,
Denny O'Neil. Yeah.
buddy cop story,
Yeah.
except with two Green Lanterns. And that's
Mhm.
cool if that because I will say the one thing that I can't deny about the trailer is it looks like a very quality TV show, which
Yes.
we know it will be because it's HBO and that's what they do. HBO does
Yeah.
the most premium TV you can get.
Yeah.
That is, even though I have my reservations about the language, I've told you, I feel like we've had this is the fourth DCU project we've had. I feel like we've only had one out of the four that is family friendly, and that's Superman.
Yes.
So I would
Yep.
like to see some more accessibility for the DCU because I feel like we're heavily on the side of adult right now
Yeah.
with Creature Commandos, Peacemaker, and now Lanterns. That is my one biggest concern is I feel like Green Lantern should not be behind an age restriction.
Mhm.
It should be
It seems like
accessible.
they're leaning more into HBO adult than they are what the property should. I hate using the word should be.
Yeah,
What the property could do as far as a, what is it, four quadrant, you
yeah.
know, uh, something like that. It seems like with TV, and again, we don't know the numbers. They might know that the people that tune into HBO are the ones that are going to tune into this, not the family friendly audience. I don't know, but
Very,
it
yeah,
is what
could
it is
be.
at this point. Yeah. So I'm in kind of wait and see mode at this point. I mean, it's August, which is nice. We at least have a month
Hmm.
confirmed. and we'll see if we get another trailer that's going to show more stuff. And I'm just kind of, we
Yeah,
know
and
we're going to get a quality show.
I do think, well, so by the time we get it, it'll be the fifth DCU project because we'll have Supergirl
Yeah,
in
Supergirl will
between
be
there.
prior. Yeah.
So Supergirl, I think, will be more accessible than this
Yeah.
for a family audience. I don't know how much, because
Hmm.
the story's a little grown up in the book. So
Yeah.
we'll see though. It's not, I don't think it'll be on the level of Lanterns,
Yeah.
with language and things like that. But I do think they're holding things back. This is just a teaser trailer. And we got, I mean, even in this trailer, we got mentions of Chip.
Yeah.
We got the Ring. We've got some Flight. We know that Guy Gardner is going to be on in here, and he's not super grounded so far as what we've seen in the past from him. So I'm wait and see. But I am looking forward to the show.
Agree.
Okay, with that, sorry for that tangent. Let's move over to what we're actually here for. So, should I play the music again? No, I'm kidding. Um, so Batman v Superman, released in 2016, of course, directed by Zack Snyder, written by Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer. This was produced by Charles Roven and Deborah Snyder, stars Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. We've got Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Jeremy Irons, Holly Hunter, of course, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. What a cast! This an amazing cast. We all know that. But I want to rewind time, Joe, because you and I have talked about
We
this
all
movie.
do.
Yeah, no kidding. You and I have talked about this movie ad nauseum together.
Hmm.
Offline, just chatting. Um, I I would hazard a guess to say that if it were not for this movie, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. This podcast would probably wouldn't exist. um, because this movie is what got me, for better or worse, into the internet superhero scene. Like before BVS, I really didn't engage in like
Hmm.
stuff online about these movies. This was my introduction to searching online about, details and things like that, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chatting with people. I didn't do that before then. I didn't know places like real fans existed, you know, things like that until after this
Hmm.
movie. So this was my introduction into that world. And oh boy, what a journey it's been since then. Probably not the point on the train to get on, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but going back to like 2013, I loved Man of Steel. You and I have talked about Man of
Hmm.
Steel on this show, and it really just made me love Superman as a character. So when I heard about the 2013 San Diego Comic Con and I saw the YouTube, clips of it being announced, and the the building almost exploding when they announced Batman v Superman, Hall H was just electric, and it got me so excited, and I was thrilled for this movie.
Hmm.
So take me back to 2013 when you found out this was a thing. What did you see that? I'm sure you've seen that clip since then, but did you see it in 2013? Did
Yeah,
you
I remember seeing the clip and hearing, General, is it Swanwick is the one that came out. I can't remember the actor's name. Harry Lennox? Why
Linux?
am
Yeah.
I? Um, for some reason, I was not confident in that name when I was thinking of it. Um, when he came out and did the monologue from The Dark Knight Returns to surprise everybody. Um, I still remember that. Was it him, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, he read
Okay.
the excerpt.
Yeah. So I remember being completely shocked. They put the logo up there. I had no, I don't know if anyone had inklings of that or if there were rumors of that beforehand. I really don't remember. I sure as heck didn't. Um, so it was a shock, and it was. we knew a sequel was coming. I'm trying to remember now.
Well, and Batman v Superman or Batman versus Superman had been gestating at Warner Brothers for a long time.
Yes. And so that's one thing I want to bring up. So I don't know why it's a nitpick of mine and I don't even know if I'm right or wrong. You call this Batman v Superman.
Hmm.
I always call it Batman vs Superman or BVS. I don't know if that's a marketing problem, but like to me, the V is an abbreviation for versus. So like I just say Batman versus Superman or I say BVS. Um Batman v Superman sounds weird to me. But
Well, it is weird, but we'll get into
yes.
that.
And I think it's just a way that they did it for whatever reason. I think we've seen for years a lot of issues with the title and the Dawn of Justice thing and all that. But anyway, so this was we never knew of a Man of Steel 2, correct? This was the announcement of the sequel and Batman will be in it. That was all the same Comic-Con, correct? That was 2013.
Well, yeah, it was right on the heels of Man of Steel's
Yeah, it was
release.
July of 2013 when they announced this was happening. Okay. And then I I remember being really pumped. And then this was like the Comic Con heyday.
Hmm.
Because not to jump ahead, I still remember, I want to say the following year is when we got the promo images of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
And then 2015 is when we got that trailer. I'm almost positive that was the timeline that we got. Um, and I could be wrong. I could be remembering it wrong, but like Comic Con was on fire with this
Yeah.
movie. Like every year we got a ton of great stuff, really in most of the DCU. At that time, it was always just a big thing for Hall H to have a great DC presentation, and yeah, I there was so much leading up to this movie, and we can get into the lead up and Affleck being cast and then the announcement of Wonder Woman being in. I don't even remember when the announcement of Wonder Woman being in it happened. That is kind of a foggy thing for me.
Yeah. Well, so we like I remember like the teaser was leaked supposedly.
Okay, yeah,
And
so the teaser I'm talking about the actual first trailer was Comic-Con. The
yeah.
teaser you got to do, if you remember, they had special theatrical um it was a free screening at theaters to go see the 5 minute teaser.
Hmm.
No, I'm sorry, not 5 minute. It was like a 30-second snippet. It was literally just the "Tell me, do you bleed" thing.
Yeah.
And then I remember when it leaked, they added a little extra snippet for the people that went to the theater, and it came with a ticket to opening night of BVS. If you went, so obviously you didn't go to that.
No, I did not. Did you? I'm
I did
assuming you
not get to
did.
go. No, I didn't.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like an hour away from me, and I couldn't justify driving an hour to go see like a little 30-second snippet that it was already leaked online. But I remember it was the "Tell me, do you bleed," and then it cut, and then the extra little footage that they got at the theater was Batman and Superman running towards each other. It was actually spliced in from a later scene in the fight. It wasn't actually from that, but they made it look like it was like next, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't even know if that's online, if you could see that the way it was spliced for the people at the theater. But they did a lot of fun stuff like that for the fans for years. Um,
Oh, this movie was, I mean,
the
the
marketing on this was incredible.
the visibility, the marketing were in, I mean, they had deals with Dodge, especially with Jeep, for the like
The car that's in the
the
intro,
car
yeah.
that's in the movie. They had
I can't even remember the name of
commercials.
the car.
They had deals with Aston Martin. They had
Doritos,
Doritos.
the
They had
food, the
they had
cereal.
mini comics with the General Mills cereals.
Yup.
Which, by the way, keep your eyes out. You may see something upcoming with me attached to do with that.
Okay.
More to come. Uh, I mean, just Rocksteady released downloadable content for Batman Arkham Knight, where
Hmm.
you could play in the
Yeah.
BVS Batmobile in the
Dr. Pepper had the soda cans. I'm trying to think of the stuff I have. Like, just I still have
yeah
a lot of the stuff, but I remember the Dr. Pepper soda cans, the Doritos. Um, there was so much stuff. I mean, it was incredible the amount of content. It like they were trying to really just put this out there like this was going to be an event, and it was. I mean,
yeah,
up until opening night.
and I've told you this before that like even places you would not expect, like
Mhm.
NASCAR,
Yeah.
had a Batman and Superman race. They had race cars themed for this
Yep.
movie, and the Superman car driven by Jimmy Johnson actually won that race.
Mhm.
So crazy good looking cars. But yeah,
Well, I
I
remember
mean,
Times Square was like filled with stuff. I mean, that's pretty common,
yes.
but to the extent was insane.
Oh yeah.
Um, you got what else was there? It was I still remember the Turkish Airlines Super Bowl
Yep.
commercial, which was brilliant because it was having a commercial without having to pay for one because Turkish Airlines did it.
Hmm.
There was even they even came out with like a Metropolis Gotham travel book that I have. Like it was like a travel guide.
Yeah.
Like they made it like you were actually, if you were traveling to Metropolis or Gotham, you had a book to show you where to go. Like just stupid stuff like that.
And that's one thing. I just want to call this out right now. This movie continues to move merch to this
Yes.
day, like crazy amounts of
Yep.
merch. The you know, it has so much. This is such a divisive film. Like,
Hmm.
let's just not even hide from the fact that
Yeah.
it's very divisive, but it moves product like
The
crazy.
people that love this movie are willing to spend money on it.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
like McFarlane just put out uh, in the past few years a line of toys.
Yeah.
Funko in the
Hmm.
past few years has put out a line of pops. If McFarlane just did like a its own Kickstarter thing. Did you see this
Hmm.
for
I
the?
know a little bit about it, but I wasn't sure the extent of it.
Oh, it was for the they did the Batmobile,
Hmm.
but they did like four different tiers
Okay.
that you could do, and you
Yeah.
got like different figures,
Hmm.
and the biggest set you could convert it from Justice League to
Hmm.
BVS, and
Oh, that was so. That's the other thing I was thinking. I was telling you about my hats before we started recording. At
yeah.
Comic-Con, they had like special BVS hats. They had one for every character, and then they have the armored Batman hat with glow-in-the-dark eyes on it. So it's really cool. And then they even had a deal with Under Armour,
Hmm.
where I'm wearing my Under Armour shirt right now. Actually, they had deals with BVS. They had a Batman one. They had a BVS logo one, which is what I got on right now. And then they had even a Gotham Knights. I'm trying to remember now if I'm getting confused with. So Gotham Knights was Dark Knight Rises. Um, they had Metropolis shirts and they had Gotham University football shirts
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
were part of the marketing too. And you could buy legit Under Armour shirts that were like the colleges. Really
Yeah.
just fun stuff for like everything you could imagine they sold for this movie. And they were hard to find. Some of the stuff was like really, really mass marketed. Some of the stuff was really limited and it was really hard to find. I was lucky enough to get some of the stuff and some of the stuff I couldn't find.
Yeah, and he's even as recently as the past year or two, just in the past several months, I've gotten the new armored
Yeah.
Batman Hot Toys figure.
Yep.
They've done multiple of the regular suit.
Yeah.
They've done suit. InArt has Superman. InArt has a Wonder Woman from Batman v Superman that's
Hmm.
coming very soon. So yeah, this continues to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
So there is still a hunger for this version of DC out there.
It's like the legend of this movie has continued to grow just because, and I know that people have said over the years that this is a movie that is going to um become a cult classic, or it's gonna, what's the term that people like to say? It's gonna age well, where people are gonna start coming around to the movie. I
Hmm.
don't necessarily believe that that's the case. I don't think people that hated it in 2016 are now like, it was okay. I don't necessarily think that's happening. I think the movie is still what it is. I think people, I don't know if the vitriol towards it is as extreme as it was, because I think even people that didn't like this movie have at least accepted that Zack Snyder's Justice League was good, at least. If they
Hmm.
didn't care for BVS, I think most people were at least okay with his version of Justice League, which maybe helped what the arc was. But I still think this movie is what it is. I don't think people have changed their opinion drastically on this film. I think maybe people that have found it later
Yeah,
are like, I don't see why it was so hated.
I do think if you now
Hmm.
coming back to it years later, if you watch it as a trilogy,
Yeah.
I think you enjoy the middle section more.
Hmm.
Because it fills out the arc. I do think a lot of the issues are solved by Zack Snyder's Justice League
Hmm.
that people had.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not people are willing to go back on that journey is another question entirely. But
Yeah.
in a vacuum, I agree. I don't think if you didn't like this movie in 2016 or when the Ultimate Edition came out, I don't think you're gonna suddenly love it now.
No. And I think even for the people that, because I will say there are a lot of people that never saw this movie, and
Hmm.
the legend of the movie is, oh, BVS, I heard that sucked. Or people
Yeah,
that never saw it will just say, oh, BVS, that sucked. Like they won't even put the disclaimer that they didn't actually watch the movie.
yeah.
Um, I have talked to many people that had saw it after the fact and were kind of confused as to why it was so hated. And that just, I think this is the beginning of that internet extremist mentality of it's either the worst thing in the world or the best thing in the world. There
Yeah.
aren't many people that come in the middle of this movie.
No, no, you're on one end or the other, really.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I've always been, even, I would say, like, even coming out of the theater the first time, and I think you had a very similar experience. First time I saw the movie, I was like, huh,
Yeah. That was my exact like. I remember watching it, waiting for the train to derail.
yeah,
I think that it was this was the first movie that I had a really hard time watching it for what it was, because
you were waiting on the shoe to drop and it just to suck.
yeah, like I think this was on the very beginning of my friendship with Andy. I was friendly with him, but we didn't talk like we do now. And I remember, so I mean, I could get into this now if you want, but I mean, I was so excited for this movie. My wife and I planned a trip to Los Angeles
Yeah.
to see this movie.
Hmm.
We had went to LA a year and a half earlier and loved it. We went for only a couple days and then went to San Francisco, kind of made like a California trip out of it. And we loved LA so much that we were like, we want to go back and spend some more time there. So we were like, let's just go for Batman vs Superman and just make a week of it. And so we did. And um I remember that's why I didn't do the whole early screening thing, because I didn't know where I was going to be on that Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was.
Hmm.
So, but I remember talking to Andy when the fan screenings were pretty positive. They weren't 100%, but most fans that went to see it that Monday were pretty positive on it. But then the reviews were coming out really negative, and Andy was pretty like always positive on it. He understood the nitpicks, he understood the complaints, but he was pretty positive on it. Um, but I remember seeing all these reviews that were just so hateful towards it. And I kept seeing like what were they thinking kind of things. So I remember watching the movie and weird things that I was looking for. This is going to sound really stupid. I was so like foggy in my own head
Hmm.
that I was so like I was just nervous about every little thing they did, where I'm like, okay, what are they going to do that's so outlandish? And it made no sense to me.
I was waiting for Batman and Robin.
So You're in the beginning when he's talking to Jack on the phone.
Hmm.
I swore I heard dad.
Uh,
And I'm like, so
uh,
wait, are they telling me his dad's alive or he's got an adopted father now? Like, this is what they're mad about? Like, I was looking for stupid things to be mad about.
oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And I'm like, no, he's saying Jack. Why am I thinking he's saying dad? Like, what? Like, just stupid stuff like that where I couldn't even enjoy the movie. I was waiting for something bad to happen the whole first part of the movie.
Hmm.
And then I got to the Batmobile chase scene and I said, oh, this is it. I'm like, this is why everyone is mad. For to use a term, this is why everyone is butthurt.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I couldn't just sit back and enjoy the movie, which is why I now see movies multiple times opening weekend so I can at least enjoy it the second time and enjoy it for what it is because audiences and reviewers ruined this movie for me when I got to see it, and I'll never forget that. It ruined my opening night experience.
I agreed, and I had the same exact experience
Yeah,
because I was so excited for it, and stupid me, if I knew now what I knew then, I would have
yeah.
stayed off the internet.
Well, I even get
Um,
mad at you when you send me Rotten Tomato scores now before
yeah,
movies come out because this is
yeah,
why I am scarred for life.
yeah. So, and it wasn't even Rotten Tomatoes at that day and time.
I don't even remember.
It was just like articles
Yes.
of just like just vitriol. This
But
movie
there were some that were
sucks.
really positive.
Yeah, but they got drowned out
Yes, they did.
quickly.
Yep.
Um, so but by the time, I mean, it was like headline news
Hmm.
that this movie was apparently awful. So
Yeah.
by the time I got ready to go to the theater opening night, I was just bummed
Yeah.
on my way to the movie theater.
You were bummed. I was in LA, dude.
Yeah, I know. And you did a whole trip around it.
I went to Warner Brothers. I
So
got to
did you
see the Batmobile at Warner Brothers.
so had you heard all of this before you left for the trip, or was this like,
No, because I left. I think I got there around Sunday or Monday.
mhm,
Um, I went to Warner Brothers on Tuesday or Wednesday, did the whole tour, got to see all the Batman stuff there. Because was it Batman 75th that year? Or was that the
mm,
year, or was that the first time I went? I'm trying to remember. I went twice to the Warner Brothers studio tour, and I can't remember which one was which, but it was 16. So no, it was not the 75th. The 75th was the prior time I went. So this was like 77 years. Um, but I got to see the exhibit at Warner Brothers. I got to see the Batmobile on the lot. Um, the marquee at the theater in Warner Brothers had the Batman vs Superman, on the marquee because they were showing it to um execs, not execs, but like people that work there.
mhm.
Um, the water tower had the BVS logo on it. Like I have all that stuff. Like it was an experience. Like so I've really tried not letting everything ruin my at least my experience. And then I got to see the movie on opening night at the Chinese theater where the costumes are out on display. The Batmobile was now there in the like lobby area. Like it was fun.
So,
Um
and speaking of oh God, the costumes, so good. They're gorgeous. But I'm curious because this was a movie that after that first night when I saw it and I left going, huh, because I
mhm,
really didn't know how I felt about it. It was a
yeah.
lot. Honestly, it was a lot to
Yes.
process.
Hmm.
I saw this movie in theaters because I knew as soon as I left the theater, I was like, I need to see this again.
Yeah.
Um, so I had, and at that time, I mean, I saw it in my local theater in my hometown. I was like, I want to see it on a bigger screen. So I went to the closest IMAX we had was Raleigh, North Carolina, which is about an
Hmm.
hour away from my home. So I went home, got a ticket for the next weekend
Yeah.
in Raleigh at the IMAX. So I went and saw it there. I saw this movie four times in theaters, I think.
Yeah.
After the second time, that's when it really clicked for me. So
Yes.
for you is okay, so it's the same for you. That was my follow-up question is when do you think you knew you really liked it or loved this movie?
So I saw it opening night, Thursday night, and then I think we had tickets to go again either Friday morning or Saturday morning, again at the Chinese theater. Um, I want to say opening night was IMAX 3D, so we went
Hmm.
to see it a standard IMAX. either the following morning or Saturday morning, I think. And I remember at least liking it a lot more the second time.
Hmm.
I think because I got it. Like I understood what they were doing
Yeah.
that time. I think the third time is when I started to completely buy in and really get emotionally invested in the film.
Hmm.
Where because I was back home by that point. It was Easter weekend. So I was definitely okay. So I was definitely home Saturday. So maybe I saw it Friday morning after seeing it Saturday. And then I was home Saturday. And I think I went to see it either Saturday again or like the Monday after Easter. I definitely saw it at least 4 or 5 times in the theater with different
Gotcha.
people. Um, but I remember just finally getting the emotional investment and really the without getting too cheesy or anything like that, the love story with Lois and Clark and him sacrificing himself at the end, just the way he looks at her and says I love you and this is my world, like that hit me
Hmm.
finally, like on the third time. And I'm not going to say it didn't mean anything the first two times, but I think you're not expecting it. You're watching a superhero movie, and as stupid as I admit I was. I mean, Doomsday in this movie, how did we not see Superman dying? I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. Um, so when I finally saw what they were doing and looked for things and realized how this was a story about him accepting that he is now from this world, this is his world more so than Krypton ever was. And when I started getting into that, that's when it really hit me emotionally that this was a love story and going with my wife who, um, it just again that cheesiness, the love story angle. I like the way it was done. This is not your typical superhero movie. It never was going to be in Snyder's eyes.
Mm-mm.
We can get into that as far as whether it was a mistake or not. We've talked about that ad nauseum too. I get it. This probably wasn't the best idea for the first time Batman and Superman are on screen together, but this might be a weird way to look at it, but I feel like I respect the hell out of him doing something that nobody else would have the balls to do.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna like it's stupid to say this because we haven't gotten it yet, but I feel like well, we're gonna get it eventually. Like anyone can do that. We're gonna get Batman vs Superman traditionally on the big screen. We've had it in comics, we've had it in the shows, we've had it in animation. We're never gonna get something like this ever again.
Well, and here's where I sit with that whole argument because and I agree. I think this universe really could have benefited from some installments before this film.
And
Uh,
I actually disagree with that.
Here's what I'm saying.
I'll let you finish and then I'll go into my rant,
Here's
but
what I'm
that's okay.
saying. Warner
Yeah.
Brothers wanted to do this with no lead up. Years
Yeah.
before they wanted to do Batman versus Superman with no lead up.
They want to do a Justice League with no lead up. Yeah.
So to me, it's not a Zack Snyder problem. It's a Warner
No.
Brothers problem putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
But I do think this world, I mean, because we've heard like since then, like how good Ben's script was for his standalone Batman movie.
Yeah.
We've heard that. I think like I think some a little bit, and I'm not saying you need a character development movie for each person in this
Hmm.
film, but I would have loved to have seen a Batman movie with Ben prior to where we see him in BVS. I would have
Hmm.
loved to have seen another Superman movie where we do see the world embrace Superman
Yes.
before it goes to hell in a
Yeah.
handbasket.
Yeah.
Not saying it's necessarily needed, but I think it would have helped.
Yes.
So,
My and I agree with what you're saying, and I would have loved it. You're right. It's not a Zack Snyder problem. It's a WB problem. They wanted this.
mhm.
So Zack took this and said, okay, if this is what you want, I'm going to fit as much into this and Justice League as humanly possible and branch off of that instead. That was his plan.
Yeah.
My thing with that thought process of you can't do it this way because we would have preferred it another way, and this is not some groundbreaking philosophy. I just think this movie came out at the worst possible time because people were still in love with the Avengers, and that was all we knew. in superhero movies that were successful. People saw this movie and said, "This is not the Avengers. What is this garbage?"
Yeah, and I mean, you look at it such strange timing because you look at it, the Avengers was hugely popular at the time.
Yeah,
Marvel was in their heyday. If you look today, I mean, we have things like The Boys that is wildly popular,
yeah.
Invincible that is wildly popular. I still think at the end of the day, it's more palatable to the general public when it's not these iconic beloved heroes that are being
Oh yeah,
deconstructed.
I'm not saying that if this movie came out today, it would still be divisive. There's no
Yeah.
way around it. I just think it was dialed up to an 11 because of the time it came out
Yeah.
and because we weren't looking for anything different. Now we are. People
Hmm.
want different now with our superhero movies because they've kind of run the well dry, Marvel especially, with the same thing over and over again. And I'm not saying all the movies are the same, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um, but the tone of the Marvel universe was so established and so beloved, nobody wanted something that wasn't that.
Yep.
And this was not just not that. It was kick that thing down the road. We are doing something drastically different. And it was a lot for people to swallow. And not only was it something different, it was something very, I don't even know. I mean, definitely different, but like
Yeah.
it was just, there were numerous things that they did that were, to put it lightly, not the safe route to go.
Yeah.
I mean, if this movie had a traditional Lex Luthor and told the exact same story, that would have gone a long way for people, I think.
I agree with you. And I'll
There
be
was
honest,
just so many things, and I'm not even saying I don't disagree with that. I have come to love this version of Lex Luthor.
see, I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum. Since you brought it up, that
Yeah,
is one of the things for me
yeah,
that has not aged well
okay,
with the movie.
yeah,
Like the
and I get
further,
it.
yeah, the further I go along, and this isn't Jesse Eisenberg's fault. I do think Jesse Eisenberg gave a hell of a performance for what
Yeah.
he was asked to do. It's just it for me, it's not Lex.
Mhm.
It's it's
No,
Mark
it's not the vision.
Zuckerberg.
It's not.
It's
I think that's why I like it, is
yeah.
because in today's world, that's probably more likely to be what our Lex Luthor would be.
Hmm. No, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
that's why I think I was willing to go with it. And you hear Snyder talk about how they were not planning on doing it this way, but when Jesse Eisenberg came in, they were like, let's try something different here. And I
yeah,
think that is why I respect him as a filmmaker, is because he's not willing to do the safe thing. He's willing to adjust and do things differently because of whether it be a gut thing or just something is presented in front of him that's like, well, we have that. Why would I want to just duplicate that? And I
yep,
get it. We all want the comic version. We all do. I do too. I get why directors don't want to do the comic version because they are a creative. To them, it's not fun to do someone else's version.
yep,
But look what he gave us with Batman. That is someone else's version. So he had to find something different to do. And I, as much as the movie is not what I wanted, I'm willing to go with different interpretations more so than a lot of people are. But I get why people aren't willing to go with these type of changes.
no, yeah. I have always applauded Zack's willingness to step outside the box. Like, there's a lot of Zack Snyder movies, M more than I don't. I really like his movies.
Mhm.
Most of them I love, and he's willing to step outside of the box. But to this day, there are things that, as much as I love what he does, there are still things that don't quite click for me,
Mhm.
honestly. And so in that spirit, I understand
Oh yeah.
why it's not, universally adored. I get
Yeah.
it. And I think it's kind of silly for the people who don't understand it not to realize it. You can and I know box office has been argued to death with this movie.
Mhm.
But it's clear that the box office is an indicator of what happened with this movie. People were very excited for it.
Yes.
They came out opening weekend and gave it a crazy amount of money,
Hmm.
for the so they were excited for it. And if you look at the overall box office, it dropped off hard.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if this movie had been a tiny bit more accessible, it probably would have been one of the biggest movies of all time,
Hmm.
box office wise.
Yeah.
So while I still don't think it's the failure that people make it out to be, I can look at the box office and understand, yeah, the audience was excited for it
Yeah.
and
You can be reasonable.
they stopped going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but having said that, yeah, I mean, we've talked for quite a while now and haven't even got into the story of the movie. So
No.
why don't we do that a little bit? Um, so what's the best way to approach this? Is there a moment in the movie for you? Because I mean, we've everybody has talked about this movie. We've heard, people give synopsis and break it down and things like that. Is there a moment in this movie that does it for you? That this is why I love this movie? Is there a sequence, a
Ooh.
beat that really just clicks for you as to why you love this movie?
So I love the what's the word? It's the dialogue, but I love the philosophical dialogue in this movie.
Mm,
As far as one moment, like there's moments for different things that I love about this movie. I mean, obviously the Martha rescue is the moment where it's like, okay, this is Batman. Um, there's so many little things about it that I love as far as the comic book side of it.
hmm
But the philosophical dialogue from Lex is why I'm willing to forgive the different interpretation of Lex because I love how this movie makes you think of things and why he is so against Superman. I love the lines of if God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. If God is all good, he cannot be all powerful. I
hmm
love the reason why Lex is so evil is because he makes sense with the reason as to why he's so evil.
hmm
Obviously, the childhood trauma from his father, um, and him having complete trust issues in God and someone who he sees as a god, but an evil god. That's the kind of stuff that I really love about this movie because I love the fact that we got that in a superhero movie. And listen,
hmm
I get people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's not really doing that. You're just looking for things." You know what? Like, I'm so tired of that. If you don't like it, it's fine. I don't care if you don't like it, but stop belittling the true nature of the movie.
hmm
You can not like it. You could say it's terrible. I don't care. But stop trying to belittle the people that find things about this movie to love. That's what pisses me off about the people that don't like the movie.
hmm
Or saying that's not Batman. No, it might not be your Batman. It might not be what you wanted as Batman. And I know this is a really long-winded answer for something as simple as what made you love the movie. But my biggest takeaway from this movie in the last how many years is I think Zack Snyder has done more for the no killing rule by showing Batman kill and a repercussion for it than any other comic book writer or creative in any movie has done by having Batman take the easy way out and never killing. I'm sorry. You could say all you want, Batman finds a way to not kill. Having a writer take it and have Batman find stupid ways to get out of every situation so he never has to accidentally kill someone, to me is really stupid. I hate it. It
hmm
bothers me. I think it shows more, and this is not even talking about this movie right now. I think it shows more to show Batman fail. I like seeing my heroes fail. This took it a step further, and I don't necessarily even agree that Batman has to kill people to be lost. I don't like that. I don't like that part of this movie. I don't like that Batman is killing people. But you're not supposed to. That's the point.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to feel good about Batman in this movie. I don't. I hated that the first time I saw it. Batman is the villain of this movie. And if you don't like, you might disagree with that story point. I get it. I don't agree with it either. But I love the fact that it he's people that say Snyder doesn't like Superman are completely full of shit. I'm sorry. He's making Superman the being that is bringing Batman back from his lowest point.
Hmm.
How can you say someone like that doesn't like Superman? He took Dark Knight Returns and flipped it. Superman is the villain of that movie. This
Of
is
that
the
story. Yeah.
opposite of that story. Sorry. This is the opposite. He's making Superman the hero of The Dark Knight Returns. And he's bringing Batman back from his lowest point by sacrificing himself for the world. I love that aspect of this movie, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. So to completely not answer your point, because I just went on a completely long-winded thing about it's very hard for me to pick one specific point of this movie that like I mean, Bruce Wayne running into the rubble.
Yeah.
Do people not realize that's the Batman we know and love until he sees what just happened? When he's hugging that little girl and the little girl says, "My mom is up there,"
Hmm.
you see him flip. That's now, he goes from being the Batman we know and love to the villain in that instant.
Well, yeah. And in that moment, Superman's no better than Joe Chill.
Yeah, he took that girl's mother away from her.
Yep.
And how
To
many other people?
Not to me, but to Batman. Like
Yeah,
what
yes.
Bruce is
And
seeing.
that's my point. Batman is wrong.
He's
And
right.
I
Yeah.
think that's hard for people to accept or to see in this movie. But I respect the hell out of that. We've had how many Batman movies over the years? I'm okay with telling a different story about Batman. We've had Batman movies where Batman kills and they make light of it like it's no big deal. Let's like again, it's been talked about ad nauseum. Batman kills plenty of people in the Dark Knight trilogy, but because Nolan says he has a no killing rule, we're just supposed to accept, oh, Batman doesn't kill. We literally see him kill how many people in those movies, but oh, he has no killing rule. Again, I love those movies. I'm not criticizing them, but can we stop with this? I'm sorry, it's just a stupid fascination that people have or obsession that people have.
And to that point, if you think that Tumblr didn't kill some folks in that cop chase,
Like people are really comforted by a line of dialogue that says it's uninhabited or oh, it's a good thing nobody died. Like that's I'm sorry, that's a writer's crutch in my opinion.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not like you're allowed to have that opinion. Don't belittle someone trying to do something different. And that's my biggest nitpick with the whole no killing thing is I truly believe we have never had better conversations about Batman killing or not killing than we have because of this movie.
hmm,
And people may argue that wasn't intentional, that was just a stupid fallout because Snyder doesn't know what he's doing. I completely disagree with that. I think that was the whole point. I
yeah,
do truly think he has said numerous times he wants to know why these characters tick. To him, if you're telling me, oh, Batman doesn't kill, well, what happens if he does? What happens if he has gotten so, and I know people hate him saying that. I like that. I'm sorry, I do. I just like that way of, you know, they don't like their helm. People say they don't like to see this kind of stuff, but I just feel like it's more interesting that way. I do. Um, I don't care if you disagree. You're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to not like it. I have no issues with not liking it. I just wish people would stop belittling others or the ones that do respect that or do I if we don't keep getting stories like this, then we're just left with the same stuff over and over again, and that's not interesting to me.
right.
If we're not talking about these movies, then they're forgotten. And we don't talk about the Marvel universe that much anymore.
Hmm.
We talk about the ones that are different. We talk about the ones that are giving people something to talk about. And this movie did that, whether you like it or not. This movie brought plenty of conversation.
So the moment that made you love this movie,
Bruce Wayne running into the rubble. I'll go. No, honestly, I mean, it's the Martha rescue. It really is the Martha
yeah,
rescue. That's that's the thing that I'll constantly go back to and
Yeah.
rewatch.
Yeah, that's it's Arkham Batman on
It's
screen.
yeah.
It's comic book Batman on screen.
I wish we
Uh
didn't get it in the trailer.
oh gosh, there's so many things I wish we didn't get in the trailers
Yeah.
for this movie. But no, I get what you're saying there, and
So I'm not going to talk for the next like 10, 15 minutes. You can go.
no, you're good. I agree with you on most all of your points there. Um, I think one thing that I heard that's very interesting that you said is the philosophical side of like Lex, because I would also say because you've got the really good in this movie, which is Superman, that's being doubted by everybody, and you've got his philosophical counterpoint, which is Lex, and then you've got Batman, right, who's the antagonist of this film, and you've got his philosophical counterpart, which is Alfred. Because Alfred is telling Bruce the entire movie, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing this. He even flat out says, this man is not our enemy.
Hmm.
And it took me quite a few viewings to figure it out, but Alfred's trying as hard as he
Alfred's the
can.
audience.
He is.
Alfred's
He's telling
us.
him, don't do this. This is
Yeah.
wrong. You know, you've gone too far. And the whole philosophical thing about, and I know people think it's just edgy and his whole speech at the beginning, you know, it makes men cruel, that whole
Oh.
conversation. He's trying to get through to Bruce, because he knows what he saw in Metropolis has really damaged him.
Hmm.
And it takes him too far. On top of we know by seeing it in the cave, we know that this is post the
The
Joker
death of
killing
Robin.
Robin.
Yeah.
So he's already probably on teetering on an edge.
Hmm.
And then the Metropolis thing happens.
Yeah.
So that I think watching these, and we'll get into this when we talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but Batman's arc is so good in these movies. And
It
even
really
his
is.
arc in this movie.
Yeah. Just this movie by itself.
Yeah, going from what we see when when he's in Metropolis and he sees what happens, the little girl who got her mother taken from her by this event, which kind of drives Batman over the edge, and he won't listen, to the end, fighting beside Superman, watching Superman die, and realizing, God, how wrong was I
Hmm.
this entire time? And using that as the jumping off point to gather the Justice League. That I love that arc. I
Yeah.
love his journey in this movie.
And just because I don't want to forget to say it, and I know the Martha moment has been talked about ad nauseum too. I don't even want to harp on that. And everyone said what they need to say about that. But I get chills when he says Martha won't die tonight. I still get goosebumps hearing that line. It almost brings me to tears because you know what that means to him at that moment. That's the kind of stuff that if people don't like this movie, I get it, but how do you not at least find some enjoyment out of certain parts that are
Yeah.
so just beautiful to the core of these characters? Him having that moment with Superman, who he just was trying to kill 2 minutes earlier, have a moment where he is like, I'm going to save your mother. I will not let anything happen to her. And Superman having to trust him.
Hmm.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I will agree with the sentiment that the execution, I've always agreed the
Yeah.
execution in that moment is a little clunky.
Yes.
But what the result from it, I
Yeah.
love.
Yep.
I wish we had like a time machine we could go just polish that a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I also think people make it out to be way worse than
they
it really
do.
was.
They do. They really do. And it's just like there's two moments that seem to follow Zach and these films. There's the maybe moment in Man of
Oh,
Steel, and then there's the Martha moment in this movie.
I think people really missed the maybe moment.
And we've
We're
talked
not
about
talking
that.
about that. People really missed the point on that. But this, I get.
Yeah.
I get that it's a little clunky, but I don't think like I still there's a respectful way of saying it didn't work for me more so than the way people have treated that moment.
Now, since we're talking about things that
And
don't,
whether you like it or not, Ben Affleck is acting his heart out in that moment.
yeah, and since we're talking about things that we love and vice versa in this movie, first of all, the designs, I said it earlier, I love the designs of all the characters. This is the best
Hmm.
that Batman's ever looked on screen.
Hmm.
He's this is my favorite version of Batman on screen.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is my Batman. I love his characterization of Batman. I love the way this character moves on screen. The Martha rescue we just talked about. I also love Henry Cavill as Superman. I love his costuming.
This is my favorite Superman costume.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Even compared to, I really like the new Superman suit, but
Hmm.
it does not top this suit in
No.
this movie. Um, love it a piece. The Wonder Woman costume, perfect.
Yeah.
Love it.
I get people want it a little bit more colorful, but I think for this movie, especially the one scene she's in, it makes
Yeah,
sense for her to look like that. It looks,
yeah.
but I think, yeah, that costume is a perfect modern interpretation of that.
Um, now the one design I'm not crazy about is Doomsday.
Doomsday, I knew that was coming. Yeah.
I do not like this design for Doomsday. Um, it baffles me that this comes from the visual storyteller that Zach is.
Yeah, and I'm curious if, and I don't think this has ever been actually said. Um, I'm curious if it was like a mandate where they were like, it's too scary to do the actual Doomsday design, or it is Zach. And it is what it is. Like, it doesn't bother me. If Zach made a decision that I don't agree with, it's fine. I'm not gonna,
Yeah, and not that it has any impact because I mean, well, it does have some impact because it's a visual medium, and he's part of
yeah,
the biggest part of the third act of the movie. Um, but ultimately, that I mean, it gets the point across of what it needs to. But he's a big gray blob.
yeah. He doesn't look like Doomsday.
No,
Even
he looks
after
like a cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
yeah, even after he transitions towards the end, after he's nuked, he still doesn't look like Doomsday.
It's not
Um,
distinct enough. Like the Superman and Lois version of Doomsday,
yeah,
just do that.
yeah,
Just do that.
yep.
Um, on a bigger budget, and you
Or
got
I don't think you've ever watched it, but the Krypton version. You
yeah.
know,
I've seen pictures. Yeah.
um, I will say though, I hate the fact that people say it's bad CGI. It's not bad CGI, it's a bad design. I
Mm,
think the CGI is actually great. Um, I just think the design is terrible. And
yeah.
again, I can love this movie and still have flaws or disagreements. Like it's okay. Um, I just and I also like the whole third act being in this weird like CGI or green screen like dystopian whatever the hell, like we don't even know where they're fighting at the time. It's just this big bleh of wherever they
Hmm.
are. I do hate that that had to happen because of the fallout of Man of Steel. I've even Jay Oliva has said that Zach wanted this to happen in Metropolis, like the death of Superman, but they would never allow that. They would have never allowed Doomsday and Superman fighting in the city after what happened in Man of Steel and the people complaining about all the destruction in Man of Steel. So like that's the kind of stuff where like it lost a little bit of impact there, where there's
Hmm.
no people around to see him sacrifice himself, like in the comic.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff in the third act that really bothers me. The whole it's uninhabited. Like you could tell like that's almost Zach's middle finger at people because the studio
Oh my
told him
gosh,
to
it
say
is
that. It's
multiple
so
times.
annoying. It's so annoying, but you know that like yes, Zach has to approve those lines, but I almost feel like it's Zach saying like, "Oh, all right, yeah, it's uninhabited." Like that's his way of saying like, "Yeah, I was told to say this, guys. Like just pretend like I didn't say it."
And they say
Um,
it like three times.
it's that. It's everyone went home for the day because nobody works after 5 o'clock.
The port's abandoned. Batman
Yes,
says it.
it's numerous times and it's so annoying because I'm sorry, bunch of crybabies had to complain about two aliens fighting in a city and there was destruction. Like,
I'll tell you, and one of the pieces, I'll get more into this when we talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
mhm.
One of the big pieces of this trilogy, I wish I could like retroactively remove as much as cool as it looks for a trilogy, for watching a trilogy, I wish I could remove the nightmare stuff.
And yeah, I get it. I do
because
because it doesn't make sense when you don't get
yeah.
the cap. You don't get the conclusion of it. I agree. I can't disagree with that at all. Um, I think there was always hope that he was going to find a way to finish it somehow.
And
Um,
I think that was one of the big complaints, which I've never had an issue with when people complain about it, about this movie. Like, because I've heard for years, that Flash scene, what is that?
yeah, like nobody has complaints about Marvel hinting at stuff
Well, it's done a little differently. You got to admit that. I mean,
because
it's,
it's in the middle of the movie,
yeah,
but I love it, and I think it would have been great if it ever got paid off.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it never got paid off, so it does just have this lingering effect. But I guess because, and I mean, that's a big complaint people have with Slender's Justice League is why have the epilogue at the end just to tease more of something. To me, I think it does have a little bit of connective tissue there because they talk about it and you see a little bit more of what we were going to get. And I like that it's there. Um, and if you don't like it, just ignore it. Like, I don't know. I'm okay with that kind of stuff because I think sometimes movies tease things that don't pay off. It happens. We were just not lucky enough to get the payoff for these things. And I'm also okay with it because in BVS, they hint at enough to where I'm okay with it. Like you get the dark side tease at the end, you get, you know, they leave it open ended to whether you don't know if it's a dream sequencer or whether it's real.
hmm
I like the Flash. Like we don't even know if the Flash is real when we watch this movie. We don't know if it's a dream or not. Um, it's pretty clear that it's not a dream by the
yeah.
time we get to Justice League and everything else. But yeah, it's not a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just it's for me. I think if and like I said, we'll table that conversation. But I think my perfect trilogy is the nightmare sequence, like in all of it removed, and I think I've got a complete story. Kind of like because we talk about all the time,
Yeah.
like how much we love the Dark Knight trilogy because we've got a beginning, middle, and end,
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
and that's
that's a good point because if we didn't get that, we would have. But then, like, do you remove Darkseid at the end of Justice League?
No, I don't think so because it's just like with and this is probably a bad example because people hate it, but it's just like with what's his name? Robin. Uh
Oh, John Blake.
John Blake. If there's a story there that's it's
That's
like
going to be told eventually. Yeah, and
yeah,
but I think that's how I look at the nightmare stuff. Is that's like, well, like we don't really know.
that's
I
a
get
little
you.
too much promise though.
I got you. And my thing is always, we'll get into it more with Justice League. I'll wait till we talk Justice League because my nitpicks
Yeah.
are more with certain things on Justice League where he didn't do things or change things because he was still hoping for a sequel where I
Yeah.
wish they would have been done differently. Um, but
Let's
I,
talk about let's talk about the Ultimate Edition
okay.
because there's so much there. I truly think the Ultimate Edition really makes this a more complete story in this film. And I've heard people on both sides of the fence. Like and I agree with the sentiment that it's if you love the film, you're gonna love this version. If you don't like the film, it's not gonna do much for you.
Yeah.
Which I kind of agree with because I think you've got a preconceived notion going in one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I think there were a lot of things that were missing from the theatrical cut that honestly I don't know that I actually thought of until I watched the Ultimate Edition, and then I thought about like all the investigative journalism
Yeah.
that Superman or Clark does in this movie. This version gives Clark so much more to do than just
Yeah. I forget that that's not even in it because I haven't watched the theatrical version in 10 years. Since June 29th of that year, I have not watched the theatrical cut.
but it
And I still
makes
remember the date because I took off work to watch it.
it makes what happened at the beginning of the movie make so much more
Oh
sense.
yeah. We were
It
like, why do they think Superman killed everybody? Like they were
yeah.
shot. Then we see them lighting them on fire. Like, okay, that makes sense now. Um, and so my thing with the theatrical versus the Ultimate Edition, I don't think if they release the Ultimate Edition in theaters that it would have affected the general audience that much. I
No.
think comic book fans would have still had the same opinion.
Hmm.
But and I'm giving the critics some credit here, I'm hoping to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm.
From a critical standpoint, if they are looking at it impartially, which let's be honest, most of them were not, I would have hoped that that would have increased some of the positive reviews because it is a better made film than the
Yeah.
theatrical.
Yep.
From an actual impartial critical standpoint, not this is not the Batman we want, this is not the Superman we want. That's not movie criticism. That's
No, same. It's
that's
the same
comic book
characters.
criticism. Yeah. No, I'm saying from a critic like there were reviews that said this is not how Batman and Superman should be. That's not a movie review, people. That's
Yeah.
but that's where I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it's a more complete film, the
Hmm.
Ultimate Edition. Um, it's still the same movie, story-wise. It's still the same, plot. It's still the same characters. But I think from a critical standpoint, if you were trying to be impartial, it's hard to disagree that it's a better made movie.
Yeah. Well, while it is the same movie with the same characters, I think it gives more character growth
Yeah.
in the movie.
Mhm.
It gives because I don't think I
And
realized until this version came out how shortchanged Superman
yeah.
actually is, Clark is, and Lois in the theatrical edition.
And I don't even remember what was missing from Lois in the
That meant
theatrical.
like Lois going to what's his Scoot McCreery, what's his name?
Oh, that's right.
Going to
Going to
his
his
house,
house.
the
Yeah.
grocery
Seeing
thing.
that he had groceries.
He couldn't see
Um,
it. The whole lead
the whole
thing
lead thing. Yeah.
is
So,
not in the
yes.
theatrical edition at all. So then, I mean, it kind of it
Remember we thought she
ties.
was Batgirl?
Oh yeah, but it ties Lex's arc in a more complete bow too.
Mhm.
Because in the theatrical, honestly, it's very unclear why everything in the beginning even happened.
Oh, yeah.
But in the
Or
Ultimate
him getting
Edition,
arrested.
in the Ultimate Edition,
Why
it
he's
really
arrested.
gives you that.
That's another thing I want to push back. People that say Lois is useless in this movie. Did you not watch the movie? Lois is literally the only person that is getting the evidence to convict Lex.
Yeah.
That is what she's there for.
Hmm.
I mean, she has a complete arc in this movie. She has things to do without Superman. She is an independent person in this movie. She is way more than the damsel in distress that she is in most movies.
Yeah.
So that is one of those things where like I don't know. I love Lois in this movie. I think she does great in this movie.
And what is fascinating to me is this movie there's the morality debate of Superman. And fast forward to the new Superman movie,
Yeah.
there's the morality debate of
Yeah.
Superman. So it's fascinating. People we did not like Superman in this painted in this light.
Mhm.
But fast forward, we get a shinier version, yes, but still morality tale
People are
of
tricked by bright colors, aren't they? It's no, it's funny because people complained for years that Superman was a boring character. He's too strong, he's too powerful, you can't make him interesting.
Mhm.
Then we get Superman Returns where he's just boring because he doesn't fight anybody. Then we get Man of Steel, he fights too much. It's too violent. It's too, there's too much action. Then we get this, which tried to do something different, tried to do something interesting, and people still weren't happy. Superman is
Yeah.
a very hard character to please everyone with unless you give him the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Superman is one of those characters where people just want more of the same. They don't want anything interesting with Superman. I truly, and maybe that's a um,
I
really
think
horrible way to look at it, but
I
I'm starting to get really annoyed by people
I
with
think
what
it's
they
I
want
think
from
it's the time
Superman.
frame though, because if you look, I mean, since then we've had this new incarnation of Superman,
Mhm.
that is a morality tale. That's what right and wrong, what should Superman do versus what he shouldn't. Generally, very well accepted movie.
I so Just to push back on that a little bit, I think people will accept that more because they hated this so much.
Impossible, but I think it opened the door
Yeah.
for different Superman and Lois. We've
Hmm.
got it's not the same
That's a good
Superman
example.
story.
Yeah.
He's a dad. He's got kids.
Yeah.
We don't live in Metropolis anymore. And that show very much took a lot of nods from
From this,
the
yeah, and from
this
everything,
version. Yeah.
from every version. Yeah.
So I do think while this isn't like the bright shiny court of public opinion film, I do think it's a very important superhero film because I think it opened a lot of doors
Yeah.
now. Because I don't know, honestly, I mean, I would say this opened the doors for things like The Boys years later to be because then you started seeing that switch from Marvel kind of not being on top all the time, people
Yes.
wanting things
I
different.
think it's hard to compare this to The Boys because The Boys is an Amazon Prime show. It's not a movie. I think
No,
it's a
but I'm
very
saying the
different.
presentation of superheroes
Oh yeah, but I
and
think
what people are
it's
willing to
different.
do
People
or
are much
watch.
more willing to go with things that are not on film,
Sure.
I think. And you're right, it's not Superman, it's not Batman, it's different characters. People are way more willing to accept that with that. I think with anything, I think, or if anything, I think this movie showed that as someone who loves this movie, I do think it showed what not to do, which is sad to me.
Yeah.
I do think for a while we learned the complete wrong lessons from this movie, which bother me.
Mm.
Um, and I think when Marvel tried to eventually do things differently, I think we learned the wrong lessons when they didn't succeed. Where it seems like everyone was kept going, we can't do anything risky anymore because people aren't willing to go with it 100%. They started prioritizing Rotten Tomatoes and the box office more than telling a good story. And that is what I think the worst thing that came out of this movie was.
Hmm.
Because love it or hate it, this movie had an impact. This movie had people talking about it. You either loved it or you hate it, but it brought discussion. And I think because of that, this movie is going to live on way longer than the movies that get 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, like an Ant-Man movie or, like that kind of stuff, and they get forgotten.
Hmm.
Um, so we were in a really weird time with the priorities of these studios, and I think it's still kind of that way to an extent, but I think if anything, they learned that maybe it's okay to take some risks if we get at least enough of the box office return. Um, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future with some of these movies. I hope we see more movies willing to take risks.
Well, and I think you have a space where maybe even if it's not a movie, but even if it is a TV series, where you've got people who are now more comfortable with doing things like with Creature Commandos
Yeah,
or taking it even a step farther with Peacemaker.
yeah.
Um,
But I think that's the downside is that they're only willing to take those risks on TV because there's no box office to say it failed. It's easier to get away
yeah,
with certain things. I mean, they still want their viewership, but they don't release those numbers, so nobody can criticize those numbers.
sure. I mean, we do have a R-rated horror Clayface coming. So we're
Yes,
stepping outside the box.
yep. And that's where like I'm happy that we do get that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And I hope that this movie again, I don't even know necessarily if this movie has kind of stemmed that or caused that stuff to happen, but I think this movie's longevity of discussion is the most important thing to come out of it, in my opinion. More so than the failure of it, the fact that this does have this huge aura around it, for better or for worse.
Hmm.
And then what we got with Zack Snyder's Justice League having even more of you know, a weird turn of events from that.
Which we will talk about.
Yeah, it's been a really weird ride since this movie. And this movie was the turning point of the DCU with, you know, the course correction and the panic and every I mean, this movie just created so much after it.
Yeah.
WB couldn't get out of their own way after this movie.
Yeah, no kidding. I do think one of the biggest things that I do enjoy about it is we did get for as divisive as this entire universe was, you have a couple of you have a couple of different avenues you can watch and enjoy this from. Like you can watch just Man of Steel, this Zack or Justice League,
Yeah,
or you can just watch that trilogy. It makes sense there, or you can watch it with the other movies in the universe if you want to. Makes sense there. And there's a lot that stemmed out of this world that I really like. I still love Shazam. I love Blue Beetle. I love Aquaman. You know, there's the
Wonder Woman,
Wonder Woman. There's so many things that came out of this that I
two Suicide Squad movies
still really
that
love.
whether you want to
Um,
say they're in this universe or not, who the hell knows anymore. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, we've talked about it. I think we've even talked about it with the Holy Badcast guys. To call this universe a failure with all we've gotten out of it, and I think that's the strong point of this universe, where you can't say that about Marvel, is you can watch individual movies and kind of pick and choose what you want to watch and have your own trilogy or have your own little movie marathon without having to watch every little thing to make it make sense. And I think
Hmm.
that was what the original plan was, to stem out of BVS as opposed to leading up to VBS. I think that was really interesting. I think that was a different way to do it, to kind of have your cake and eat it too, where the movie, the studio was like, hey, we need to fast track this Justice League. And Zack is like, okay, but how can I do that and still let creators have their freedom, let them make their own movies, and also still get to Justice League like they want me to. And I think that's where I would have loved to have seen the original plan. Sadly, I'm at peace with the fact that we're never going to get that. But I think what we did get is almost a miracle in and of itself at this point, with all of the back and forth that they had done throughout those whole years. I mean, just leading up right to the Flash. The Flash is part of this universe, but we can watch the Flash as a standalone movie, which is
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's where I, it's weird to say we're fortunate with what we got, but
Hmm.
considering how much of just a, you know, for lack of a better term, a shit show this was from
Oh
BVS
my
on,
gosh, yeah.
be thankful of what we got. And that's kind of where I'm at, because I do still love this movie. I really do. I love that I can now, in the next couple weeks, watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. Um, Before we talk about that. And while I'm thinking of it, I watched this with my son yesterday. My son is 5, so now he has seen his first R-rated movie, technically. I'm a
Oh,
terrible father for showing out an R-rated movie to my son, but man, he had a blast watching this thing with me. He don't know what's going on. I mean,
did you
it's
did you hide his eyes from Affleck's butt?
I don't even remember. The one thing that was really funny was when Lois was in the bath and he's just like, "Why is she taking a bath? She's too old to take a bath. She's got to take a shower." And then
That's funny.
then he jumps in and he's like, Why is he going in there now?" Like,
Oh gosh.
it's almost funny because he's so young, like nothing can be offensive to him. Where like my daughter won't even come in the room. She's 8 and she's scared of everything. Where
Hmm.
he's just watching it and having a blast with it. He just loves seeing the explosions and the action and the cars crashing, and you know, he wasn't questioning why Batman is killing anybody. Like, he's just watching a movie and he thought it was fun.
That's
So,
awesome. I like
yeah.
that. Well, cool. And I think it's worth shouting out that I do think it's cool that not only um, did we get the Ultimate Edition, WB put that out. We got it shortly after the movie. That was
It
during the
was
home
June
release.
29th. It was June 29th, right after the digital version came June 29th. So that was the first version we got at home. Was
Yeah.
both we got the theatrical and the ultimate.
Yep. And then, years later, right before um, Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, we got the enhanced, the
The
remastered
IMAX. Yep.
IMAX version.
Which I love. I love having that. I have way too many versions of this with the steelbooks and everything. But I love that we have that version, because I hate that they don't put in IMAX ratio sometimes on these home releases. I wish they would just give you the option, you know?
Hmm.
Um, if you don't want it to switch because it's distracting, then have it so you can do one or the other. I don't know how feasible that is. I hate that Disney has that stupid contract with IMAX for Disney Plus, where we
Mm.
can't get the IMAX ratio on the home releases. It has to be on Disney Plus. It's such a stupid thing. Um, Again, I digress. I like to complain about things that nobody cares about. But I love the IMAX ratio, the full scope because I haven't been able to see that since I was at the Chinese theater opening night. So it's
Okay,
fun that I get to see that now at home.
for sure. Awesome. Well, and like you said, I mean, multiple versions. I have the rule where I just keep the one version, so I don't have multiples.
I
I
still have a sealed original steelbook of this because I thought, you know how it's reversible, the steelbook? It's Batman on one side and the Superman on the other.
yeah,
I don't know why, but when it was released originally, it said Superman version and Batman version, and all you did is flip it. Like it was whatever was on the cover and
you
not on the
thought
back.
you thought it was
I
two
thought there were two
separate.
different versions, so I
Uh,
bought two. I still have one sealed.
oh
Never
my
opened it.
gosh,
Yeah, I
you're
got problems.
you're insane. Uh, I have my version is the box set, the Zack Snyder's
Oh, okay.
Justice League trilogy
Yep.
box set. So
And I
I
never
have
bought that. Never bought that.
really, it's beautiful in a
Yeah.
great case.
Yeah.
Folds out. You've got all three movies there.
Yep.
It's got the lithograms. So yeah, love that version. But and it came with the BVS in
The enhanced
remastered.
one. Yes. So do you
So
still have the original of BVS or no?
the original, no, no,
4K
no.
of
I have
BVS.
I have one copy of
Okay.
all three movies.
Okay.
It's just the box set. So because I'm not insane.
Oh,
Sure.
I think I have at least, I have two steelbooks of Man of Steel. I have, not including the sealed BVS one, I have at least three of BVS.
Mhm.
So four technically. And then I have one, two, three, four of Justice League, three of Justice League, including the theatrical. I have one steelbook of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then I think I have two of the theatrical,
I
maybe.
do not own the theatrical version anymore. We'll talk about that next episode. We'll
Okay.
talk about that next episode. But yeah, celebration of 10 years of this movie. I can't believe it's been 10 years. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Um, but it is a celebration because you and I both love this movie. So it is what it is. I get it if you don't, but Joe and I love it. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll we'll put a pin in it there. For Batman v Superman 10 years later. Before we go, Joe, I do have an email that I want to get to, so let me pull that up. Give me just a second here. All right, so this email is from Stuart, our good friend Stuart, and it says, "Hey guys, it's Stuart from Guernsey. Firstly, I hope you're both doing well. I've really enjoyed your recent comic episodes. I have two episode suggestions for you. I know this is a Batman podcast, but would you ever consider covering the animated film Deathstroke: Knights and Dragons? Slade is my second favorite DC character. This movie is actually really good. Sadly, no podcasts I listen to have ever covered it. Secondly, I know you've covered it on the Batman Book Club, but would you ever consider covering Batman the Dark Prince Charming? I don't know what it is about this book that speaks to me so much, but it's one of my favorites. I don't think many people are aware of this book, so you would be doing the Lord's work by pushing
Uh,
it out there for the masses. TFR listeners, Stuart.
Did
Thank
you
you.
cover that on Batman Book Club?
I did. I was on that episode for the Dark
Okay.
Prince Charming with
I know
Ryan.
I've read that.
So great email. Thank you, Stuart. I'm glad that you're enjoying our comic episodes. There are more of those coming down the pipeline soon. This month is all Zack Snyder related, so not this month, but we will get into those. Thank you. And Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. I have not seen that one. Have you seen it, Joe?
I have. I saw it once when it first came out. I do have
Hmm.
the Blu-ray. That was one of those CW Seed things where they would release like 10-minute clips
Oh,
and then they
interesting.
merged it into a film. I think that was always the intention, but I'm almost positive that's what that was. They did that and they did Vixen. Um, and they did Freedom Fighters and Ray, something like that. I'm looking at my shelf now trying to figure out what it was. But yeah, they did a few of those on the CW Seed or the CW app. And I'm pretty sure that was one of them. I watched it once when it came out. I don't remember anything about it. I would not mind rewatching it though. I kind of forgot it existed. Um,
Well, I like Deathstroke. So
Yeah,
sure, we'll put it on the list.
yeah.
I've got a running list of things for us to
Yeah.
cover. So we'll get to it at some point because I'm curious to see it too, Stuart. So good suggestion. As for the Dark Prince Charming, I love that book. And it's been a good bit since I've read it. So if I can get Joe to read it, that would be a great one. I
I've
think
read it.
Joe's
I've definitely read it.
okay. I love the
Yeah.
art. The art is great in
Mhm.
that book, and it's a really oversized, funky hardcover.
Yep.
So
I
really,
remember it. I definitely have it. I remember it. Um, for some reason, I wasn't thinking you covered it on Batman Book Club, but
yep, that was me.
yeah.
It
All
was
right.
so yeah, really good, both really good suggestions, and we appreciate that, Stuart. And hopefully sooner rather than later we can get around to those. I'll keep them on the list. But Joe, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for. I know it's like pulling your arm to get you to watch BVS, but thank you for rewatching it for me and doing this episode with me.
Really, really hard to watch, movies that I love and
Yeah,
record with you on days where I have nothing to do, which has
yeah,
been really nice on Mondays. So, but yeah, now this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to talk about this. One of our longer episodes. I felt like we could have talked another hour though. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, we really didn't get into much about the actual movie, but everyone knows the movie. It was fun to talk about this kind of stuff for, a good hour and a half. So thank you again, and looking forward to more Zack Snyder on the next one.
absolutely. And let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Letterbox, J411, and Facebook is Joe Fornerato, Fornarotto.
Excellent. And as for myself, you can find my personal accounts on just about every one of the platforms. It's just me Carter 89, me Carter 89. You can find the show on those social media platforms. Just search tfrbatpod. Again, if you're looking for a way to support us, the best and easiest way to do that is to leave us a written review or star rating on any podcast platform you listen to us on. If you do leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts, we will read those on the show. We also read your emails like we read Stuart's today. So if you'd like to send us one, just shoot those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. If you're looking for another way to support us, we don't ask you to spend a dime on this show, but if you'd like to, you can go to redbubble.com and search Shop TFR, all one word, and find our logos created by Justin Kowalski on all kinds of cool merch there. Our theme song was created by the very talented Gaurav Venkateswar, and his music is at gbtunes.com. Don't forget to go to the link in the description, go to Panelbound Comics, use our promo codes, do yourself a little shopping, get something for yourself, and support this show as you do so. That's going to do it for this episode of TFR. For Joe, I'm Eric, and until next time, make sure you keep that bat signal lit and pointing skyward. Batman was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane and is the sole property of Warner Brothers Discovery. The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast, is in no way associated with DC Comics, DC Studios, or Warner Brothers Discovery. The thoughts and opinions of the participants of this show are their own and do not reflect the companies that they work for. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.